from St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
So many Americans look back on the years we were in Afghanistan and we wonder, did we do any good? Did we make things worse? Was this a pointless mission? During the time you were there, did you have a sense that we were making things better?
Even the soldiers didn't know what they are doing there. It's not like here, we have all the family members, even if it's in different state. But us, I think it's in our destiny that as soon as you're born, you just split apart because of the situation in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
We have love. We have love for the country because you can only love when you see struggle in life.
I'm Sarah Fensky. Many Americans found themselves again paying attention to Afghanistan in the last few months. The chaotic withdrawal of U.S. troops was perhaps a reminder of a war that some of us found all too easy to put out of mind in recent years. Earlier this month, I visited an Afghan family living in South St. Louis County to get their thoughts on the situation. Qais Meraj is a former Afghan interpreter for the U.S. military. He moved to St. Louis in 2009. Qais owns a business and is raising his family here, but especially in recent months, his thoughts have returned to Afghanistan.
Well, basically in Afghanistan, it's not like here, we have all the family members, even if it's in different state. But us, I think it's in our destiny that as soon as you're born, you just split apart because of the situation in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So, we do have pretty decent counts or numbers of family members, but some of them are in overseas.
So for the ones who are in Afghanistan today, with the situation in that country, the Taliban back in charge, are any in fear of their lives?
Yeah, definitely, because, Taliban played a role in 1996. So whatever they left behind, their actions and stuff, people are really not in trust that how they're gonna, settle everything in Afghanistan without a proper democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So they are in fear, financially, emotionally, mentally.
And do you know family members who at this point are actively trying to get out, come to the U.S.?
Yeah, in our family, my brother-in-laws, they were like both young. So one was under 20. And another one is 23, 22. They were eagerly trying to make out from Afghanistan, and they stayed in airport for 3 days, 2 days, without food and anything. And if you've seen all the images and videos, it was really harsh. At one point, Talibans were there, and then there was a suicide bombing, if you heard. It was 3 or 7, I don't know. In the media, they said 3, but my, people and my family members said it was 7 suicide bombing, if I'm not, I'm not sure. So they survived that attack, actually. Because they were there actually for 2 days, literally. There were no space to even sleep.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's been like 3-4 days they were trying. So when they were leaving, the gates were opening. So they were like, we're going to just stay there and see what's going to happen. So the younger brother-in-law, he got a little hungry and he was like, I'm going to go and eat something. So he grabbed his brother too and was like, let's go out. So as soon as they went to the nearest, sandwich shop or whatever the stall is, and they heard this blast. So they called us. They was like, this thing happened. What you want us to do? Because they were just waiting for our, what we want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, no, just, get out of that place and we'll see. Because we were in touch with senators and, congressmen and so many other departments. So whatever they were guiding us, we were guiding them.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Oh, it's terrifying.
It's really hard.
And so at that point, they left the airport.
They left the airport. And They didn't had any place, but they found some, close family friends and stuff. So they stayed there. They are still there right now.
Are you able to be in contact with them now, even?
Yes. We are in a daily basis. We are in touch with them through cell phones.
And they're still actively trying to get out.
Yes. There are so many stuff. We are getting emails that you do this, do that, get the visa for the nearest country, this and that. And there are no flights. How are you going to go to other countries?
Yeah.
You're not going to walk mountains.
Yeah, so everyone has advice, but nobody really knows, here's the one thing to do.
Nobody knows what basically Taliban's going to do. In press conferences in Qatar or, Doha, their spokesperson is whatever he's saying. I mean, nobody really believes what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
your brother-in-laws who are still there, have conditions gotten worse in Afghanistan since the U.S. withdrawal?
Well, so far they are they're hiding, so they really don't go out. There are no media. I think the telecommunication system is down, if I'm not wrong.
So they don't even
they really
know.
don't know.
Yeah.
As far as concerned about how they're gonna survive, because banking institutions are shut down. So it's really hard.
So they were there at the airport there in the final days. How do you feel about how the U.S. handled its withdrawal?
Well, according to my analysis, which I was talking to other citizens of UK and other countries, they pretty much handled pretty decently. What they did was in the beginning days, they were just choosing a point. They were, sending emails to their U.S. citizens or whoever was they were saying, just go there. We will send a chopper or whatever it is. We will just pick you up from there. We did receive emails. In fact, they received a call from a random person hey, who's there with you? It's a U.S. citizen. They said, yeah, my sister-in-law is there too at that point. And we are, the brothers. We are just waiting for our interview. Everything, the case is approved and everything is approved. So they said, you know what, just hang on. I'm going to send you some information in my next call. And he also spoke with my wife. And he was they are working on it. But all in a sudden, within 2 days, we heard that, the forces are withdrawing and they are going back again. So everything was hopeless, at that point. We were hopeless, frankly speaking.
And so for these young men, I mean, they were so close to being able, they're in the final stages, having this approval. They just had to do the interview.
In fact,
it's so frustrating.
Yeah, it was actually my sister-in-law, husband, brother. So they and 4 people were trying to get out of that place. So they were okay, let's go all together. So these two, I mean, they were just, they didn't had no case, nothing. I mean, he worked for some government, intelligence or something. So they separated the lines, and those 2 guys went out, in front, and they took them inside the gates. And these 2 guys were watching us we were here from past 6 days, and we couldn't able to get the chance to even pass this gate or checkpoint. And that's when they were geez, I mean, we have cases approved and we are still sitting here. I mean, I know right now it's funny, but it's really, it was hard because I was 24 hours, me, my wife, and my mother-in-law, we were in touch with them and they were literally just sitting. I mean, 24 hours just sitting because there was no place to even stand.
And the randomness of somebody can just end up cutting the line just because of a fluke, and then people who have their papers and they're almost all set to go. Yeah. It seems like you have a better attitude about this than I would. You're kind of just chalking this up to life is a mess.
Exactly. So
you're not angry at the U.S. for bungling this?
Well, they could have been done better job, basically. Yeah. They could have been done better job. But, it's all politics. I really don't want to blame, or I don't want to play this blame game. So, but they really did what they were supposed to do.
And now they're there in hiding.
Yeah, it's not just them. So many numerous others. But let's see what's gonna happen. I mean, we are really clueless right now. What's gonna be the next step? And I think they even not talking about anything. The people are stuck. What they gonna do? Because only you can watch these in TVs and news channels and stuff, like what are their plans? What they gonna do? So it's been a week. I really haven't heard anything, any new strategy that they are gonna do, or so. We'll see.
Qais told me that he'd like to see the U.S. do a better job expediting the refugee application process.
Because we've been living without family for long, it's been long that sometimes we cannot even get. The first time I visited my brothers after 5 years, it was long. Everybody wants their family, in goods and bads. Either, like, you can see her brothers are there, my brothers are there, my mom is here. I'm gonna tell you another story. When we moved here, 2 of my brothers were stuck in India. So my mom got depression, and whenever we were having dinner or any other, like lunch or any other meal, my mom was always setting up plates for my brothers. That's how she was depressed. And that was one of the reason too I got blood pressure diagnosed with this kind of, because I was so much tense. Even I had no rest. Even I was coming in nights and I was watching my mom 3 o'clock in the morning. She's standing in the window and just thinking something. It's really hard. It's really hard to live, without your sons and brothers and sisters and dads. Like countless numbers of people, they are waiting for their family. And this kind of incident, seriously, they could have been done better job. I really don't like to. This is my nature. I don't blame no one, but they didn't put any efforts, I would say. We are supreme. America is supreme. You know that, right? If they wanted to do something, they can do.
If this was a priority to get these people out.
But I didn't see. My U.S. citizen sister-in-law was stuck for 4 days. And if you see her pictures and everything she was sending, my goodness, it was like, I don't know where she was living.
Yeah.
So she got beaten up by Talibans, because there are checkpoints, right, in airport that time. So the first 2 were Talibans, and then U.S. military. Well, Taliban and U.S. military, the 3rd checkpoint, and then 4th was U.S. military checkpoint. So yeah, she showed the bruises and everything, and even some people died with the gunshots, because my brother-in-law, we were talking and we were hearing gunshots, like all. So it's
a tough situation.
Worst experience, I would say. One of the worst experience. We got used to from Afghan people, especially Afghanistan. We've been learning this from childhood. Run from here to there, here to there, here to there. It's nobody's settled until some of them got lucky and they come to different countries, European or US.
Qais Meraj left Afghanistan as a child in the mid-1990s when his father, a diplomat, received refugee status in India. Qais eventually made his way to the U.S. in 2009. A year later, he met his wife, Aziza, in St. Louis. They got married in 2014 and became U.S. citizens in 2015. Their 4 school-aged children are U.S. citizens as well. Aziza came to the U.S. after getting threats over her work in Afghanistan as a women's rights activist. She received political asylum during the George W. Bush administration. Qais told me that this was a time when St. Louis didn't have a big Afghan community or immigrant community, period.
It was really hard. It was really hard in the beginning, because you have to familiar yourself with the culture, with people, with language, with everything here. It's really hard, like you just going to a different planet. Like if I'm going to send you to Sri Lanka and you don't know no language and nothing, even though that's good that we have education now, you internationally you go, English is there, so it's easy to communicate with people. So it wasn't that much hard for me because I studied and I had the qualifications. But it's really hard for the one who's not familiar with the language. It's really, really hard. Even now, sometimes I help people, and I was like, "What you were doing 3 years back? I mean, you've been here 3 years, and you didn't did this, you didn't did." So I mean, I'm helping them.
Yeah.
They even don't know what basically, the government is providing, like benefits and stuff like that.
My guest this hour is Qais Meraj. He was born in Afghanistan and is now a U.S. citizen. I spoke with him at his home in St. Louis County last week. He shared his reflections on the immigrant and refugee experience in the U.S. and discussed how his family is impacted by the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Qais owns his own business now, a gas station in St. Louis's Marine Villa neighborhood. Before that, he worked as a clinical social worker at Barnes Jewish Children's Behavioral Health and did freelance work as an interpreter. Then, in 2010, he decided to take his skill as an interpreter back to Afghanistan. He worked at small military forts throughout the countryside.
I wanted to see my own country, where I was born. So, as soon as I landed in Afghanistan as an interpreter, I also observe with people, like, there are similar dialogues in Pakistan for Pashto. They were hiring people from Pakistan, which they didn't even know about the typical culture in Afghanistan, or, they were not familiar about with all the lands and landmarks and everything. So I was literally like, how you can hire a person who doesn't even know how to speak proper Pashto? I mean, there were so many interpreters and even local interpreters. Local interpreters were good, but other ones, like, it was a strict business too. There were like separate companies. They were hiring interpreters and they were doing a contract with U.S. military, so they were getting money out of U.S. government.
There's been
money
a lot
involves. At the end of the day, it's all about money. So
sounds like it was a frustrating experience.
It was frustrating.
So many Americans look back on the years we were in Afghanistan and we wonder, did we do any good? Did we make things worse? Was this a pointless mission? During the time you were there, did you have a sense that we were making things better?
Even the soldiers didn't know what they are doing there.
Yeah.
So it's regardless, whatever my point of view was, like, soldiers didn't know what the heck we are doing there. I mean, I was talking to all these soldiers and stuff. It was like, I don't know, we even don't know what we are doing here.
And this was years before the withdrawal.
Yeah. So you saw the results. There are no results.
Yeah.
Spend whatever the money, time, lives, soldiers. Even if in Afghanistan, it's not like, even in attacks, they were not just, hitting bad people or Taliban. It was like civilians, countless, numerous, like videos in a week, 4, 5. Like, we have family members, so we know better than, who's here in America, what's actually going on. In fact, I'm going to tell you a pretty decent story. Like, my own family, my father's sister, so my aunt's son, she's no more, but my aunt's son's family, remaining family, he worked in UAE, but he goes back. So he has like 12 to 14 family members. They have big homes, and you know how it is. So their house got bombarded due to some wrong information. So all his kids, he was working in UAE. Okay, he had his own business or something. I don't know in detail what he was doing, but that's what I heard from my other family members. Like, no one's left, so he's the only person left.
This was like an errant U.S. strike.
Yeah, strike. Just because of miscommunication, that's what I know.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so the only thing he said, it was like everything was gone. I've only found a piece of the leg piece of a goat. That's all. The kids, family. But this is one of the incident that I wanted to share. Like, this kind of a life, people, it's not like they are animals. They are humans. They had better life when Taliban was not there. And if you can see how Afghanistan was really good, modern, nice, but from past 45 years, there is constant war. Mm-hmm. And I'm shocked how these people are still alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking.
And it's got to be so frustrating. I mean, this is your homeland. You were born there. You still know so many people there. And it's just been decades of strife. I
see, observe and analyze. I see immigrants. Like, when they come, everybody is so devoted to their work, to build their family, to build their home, I mean, people are so down to earth and, wanted to make a beautiful life. I mean, nobody wants, you don't want to leave here. You don't want to leave here and live in Japan. Okay. Your family, your homeland, the homeland gives you everything. My father used to quote this in his last days. He was like, because Afghanistan, I have 3 mothers. Afghanistan gave me a birth. India, he was there for long. He said, that's my second mom, and America is my foster mom. Because I'm here, I've been treated here for my, health issues and everything. So, I mean, I learned from him. I mean, you got to respect. And that's what I'm going to teach my kids. Where you're going to live, that's where you're going to have everything, and you're going to respect, and you're going to give your 100%. So, and it's not me. It's all the immigrants. I mean, they have good faith, love, and I'm pretty sure if one day they have to even sacrifice themselves for the country here, they will be the first people, not even Americans, I can tell you. So it's we have love. We have love for the country, because you can only love when you see struggle in life. When you have a better life, you don't know. I see, as we have so many things going on in America, small issues, but they don't even know how they should be really thankful to God they're living in this beautiful land with too much of tolerance, laws, freedom, everything is here, but small issues sometimes really shock me. I see rights here for no point, there is no... I mean, it's sometimes really shocking me
that people get upset about things here.
Just love each other, man, and just be thankful that you are in a heaven. People don't have help. People don't know what will be their next meal. Sometimes they don't even know for days what they're gonna eat. I've seen people eat stones, not even plants. And here we have tons of help, tons of, we should be just thankful. That's what my message to everyone here. Just respect the country here.
Qais Meraj hopes to one day use his social work background to open a nonprofit organization. He wants to help people, immigrants and native St. Louisans alike. He told me that he hopes his kids will have the same motivation.
I mean, they're not going to have experiences like us or like our parents. Our parents were more, it's like stage by stage. My grandfather was killed by Taliban. He was working for government. In fact, he was working for U.S., for something which I'm not exactly sure. But my dad went to military school, and they send all these, threat letters to my grandfather, like, hey, call your son back. Otherwise, there's going to be some different consequences. So he was disregarding those threats and stuff. But one day they picked him up from his roof. He was sitting and having tea. They picked him up, and they didn't found his body, just a piece of his hand, which my grandmother recognized his watch.
Wow.
So that was one of the reasons my father got ill too, because of all, he thought because of him, his father died.
Yeah.
Because
and that's traumatic.
He because of education. He always wanted to have, and he's one of the few people in his village or province that he was educated. That's how he got diplomat. He'd been to so many other countries. He spoke several different languages, but that was always eating him inside, that his father lost his life maybe because of him.
Qais Meraj knows his kids will likely have an easier time than he did. These days, he's focused on the refugees just getting to the U.S. from Afghanistan. He wants people born in the U.S. to better understand the physical, emotional, and financial burdens that new refugees face in this country.
So we landed here, and we have to work really hard, twice or thrice as much as a normal person who lives in their own country. And then you have to help your families back home. I mean, I really don't want to say what I'm helping. I just want to keep it with myself. But every month I have someone that I need to help.
Yeah.
Every single month.
You have a big family.
Families, the people I know. Even sometimes I help the people I don't know, and it's not me. It's all pretty much all the immigrants. They try their best, So
it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get an extra bill here in America, we all get first, my goodness, it's gonna be another bill here, So, but it's okay, I'm happy. I'm always happy.
This episode was produced and edited by Emily Woodbury, with podcast design by Jane Mather-Glass. Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer. St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.